a renewal, updating those HOA fields and keeping that follow-up moving until it's complete. All right, so this section is specifically about existing residents in occupied MSU. So first step, the RPM reaches out to them. If that direct contact doesn't happen, the fallback is a mail merge TTO notification. We have a little watch out listed at the bottom. And it's just kind of reiterating the importance of that Salesforce field flip. So it's a tracking signal and not a signal saying this is done, right? That field should only be updated after contact is made or only after the mail merge fallback has gone out. If it gets flipped early, we wouldn't be able to track that effectively or correctly. Jessica.
On the previous side, the slide one or the box one reach out, when we're reaching out to the existing resident, what does that conversation look like?
I'm not. Joe, are you on the call, or can someone speak to that?
I am. Yeah. Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry. And Mary, you came off, or Mary, you might have something to add.
Yeah, how it happens today is it's just an automated email out of Salesforce based off of the new client onboarding if the property is occupied. So there is going to be an email automatically sent, but any kind of follow-up questions or anything that would just be, additional service to the resident. But that is an automated email out of Salesforce.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Right, rental registrations. So this is an external dependency step. In some markets, the city or the government requires the property to be formally registered before leasing. So there are 3 things the OPM would need to do to confirm. The first, whether registration is required. Second, doing the collecting and submitting the required materials. And third, uploading any relevant documents to the building page. And again, because this sits, I don't think I have it on here, but this sits out, it's an external dependency step, right? So this is kind of outside of our control. So this has to be identified early and tracked carefully. Kristen.
Okay, that's usually done before onboarding. Because it could take a while. So is that changing? Because we've been pretty strict with that happens before we will onboard business license, registrations, lead paint, inspections.
Can still happen then. That's still happened before onboarding. I think the point is just that it needs to happen early. So I think before onboarding is early.
I have a question on that, Roy, then, because I brought this up last week. If this is transferred over, and particularly in the Northeast, California, Kansas City, places where this applies, many of them will not allow. So one of the concerns, and I understand Kristen's concerns, is that this really may need to be brought up initially by the BDM team to say, in order for you to be legal in this territory, please be aware that you're going to need X, Y, and Z. Now, the BDMs that I'm aware of are already aware of that. I can't really speak to, people who've taken over territories, but it's really important because I do know the ones that I'm very familiar with in the Northeast. Some of those can take 2 or 3 months before they're completed.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we have it in the right category and making that clear, because we don't want to, like Dale just said, that's 90 days of a vacant unit right there if we don't have a business license in DC. That's because it is being done before onboarding. Now the owners are notified and new client team make sure we get that. And then the property manager takes over.
And that might be, is Sue on, I believe Sue, you're on the call. That might be something we need to discuss. We don't need to discuss it today, but to see whether or not we need to backdate a management agreement to make sure that an owner is on board with that. We have had some owners that once they found out what they need to do, that's why I think when you say early, it's not early enough for me, Roy, because you need to be really upfront, you know.
So Dale, Rebecca is still selling for the Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah.
And she's aware that we need Kristen's approval
Mm-hmm.
to onboard since the Mid-Atlantic has all these requirements.
Yeah.
So that's part of our current process.
Okay. And I think the only question is because if you look at the training modules, some of that has moved over. I don't mind them not doing it. What I mind is that they need to at least bring it up. Dear owner, do you realize in X market you need to do, and these, by the way, Jennifer, I don't know what market you're in, but I can.
Yeah, Dale, I meant to say, I'm so sorry about that. I meant to say I'm with DFW. So in DFW, it never takes 90 days to register.
Okay.
a
If you're
property.
in, if you're in a tenant-friendly market, i.e. Maryland, DC, North Jersey,
Right,
Northern Virginia, Delaware,
right.
these can take 60 to 90 days. They
Oh,
do.
man, that's a
They
pain.
do have a number of things. You can't even let a tenant in a unit until it passes its lead paint inspection.
Right.
So they require lead paint inspection and they require, so yeah, no problem, Jennifer. I
Gotcha.
just was like, I'm like, that must be
Yeah.
market. That's okay.
No
Um,
worries.
I do think the key thing here, though, if we are going to move some of that over, I do still think the BDM needs to have, because the only reason I say that, and Kristen can vouch for this, is that a lot of the owners come on board with us and they either have a tenant in their property already, which they should have never had, and do not have a BBL in DC or registration in Maryland or Delaware or New Jersey for matters. And we really can't take them on. Because it's very hard to get them after the fact, and the court throws out those landlord-tenant cases. That's the first thing they ask. So I'm going to keep my rant on this until we kind of get this done right, which would be the BDM definitely needs to, regardless of whether it's Rebecca. It's not the only area. I know California has a number of different regulations as well, but we really need to get in step with this, because it has created problems. We wouldn't have been so vocal about it, but it has created problems already just in the last year. So that's my 2 cents on it.
Got it. Thank you, Dale. And I think we'll capture that and continue working on the process. All right, handoffs and decision points. So these are the points where the case changes hands, right? And all of these matter, right? So the business development team handoff to new client team when the onboarding is or owner onboarding is initiated. New client team is handing off to the OPM through Salesforce case assignment, and that has a less than 1 day service level expectation. The OPM is handing off to property services on the vacant path once the building move out instruction fields are complete. The OPM is handing off to the RPM on the occupied path when the TTO kicks off, and that it happens 1 day after the MSU call. The OPM also has an external handoff to the HOA through CCNR and document upload, and then another handoff to ops leadership through the exception report review. So again, if they're all important, if one is missed, there's a risk, right? The risk is immediate. You know, if no case was created, if there was no risk items, we have the business development team and new client team handing off to the OPM. So if the Salesforce case isn't created and assigned, OPM doesn't know what's going on. Routing by unit status, OPM must route the case to the right team based on occupied versus vacant. Exception report in the Salesforce field accuracy. Empty or wrong fields put units on the exception report. Vacant inspection dependency, property services inspections depend on the OPM completing the building move out inspection fields first. External dependencies, we spent some time on those, and then the TTO resident outreach. So direct contact often fails, mail merge fallback is documented, use it before flipping the Salesforce field. And whoops, did I skip the break? So I want to spend a little bit more time here on our breakout session. I know we still have some time, but I'm going to split you guys out into 3 groups, and we're going to assign each group one of these breakouts. And just to answer those questions. So for scenario A, exception report, a vacant MSU unit, whoops, sorry, I'm on the wrong slide. A vacant MSU unit has been on the exception report for 4 days. Property services say they can't dispatch the inspection. So what's likely missing? Whose action unblocks it? What SLE is now at risk? Scenario 2 is going to be HOA documentation. The owner did not provide HOA documents at onboarding. You're 2 weeks past the MSU call, and an owner asks why renewals are stalled. So walk through the OPM's HOA audit steps. What changes if the HOA isn't responsive? And then scenario C, handoff failure. An existing resident in an occupied MSU unit hasn't picked up a phone call in 5 days. Owner is asking when the TTO will be complete. So what's the documented fallback? Which Salesforce fields get updated and when? All right. So let me put you into groups really quick. And I'll come in the group and assign you which scenario. I'll send you the link to the breakout instructions. Sorry, just making one more room. Okay. And we're going to take 10 minutes for this, but again, I'll come room to room and assign you a scenario.
Doesn't look like we can see the scenarios, can we?
No, I thought he said he was gonna come in and tell us our scenario.
Oh, okay. Is that what is that what he said? He's going to tell us this?
Whoops, sorry, I'm late. Having a little trouble bouncing between rooms, but here is pasting it in the chat now.
I'll just say I don't learn this way. I have to like do it myself. I need visualizations. I can't just read something or have someone tell me something, and that's how I learn it. So I don't know the answer.
I don't know the answer either because I'm the same way Shauna is.
Same here.
Same here. I think that's us older school folks.
You must be.
I would pick up the phone and call someone.
The answer
Well, it's-
was the email in PropertyWare, the mail merge email. And then you change the field in Salesforce once you've sent the mail merge email.
And that would be the RPM, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Because
Correct.
okay, so the RPM would have to send out a mail merge in PropertyWare and then mark what field in Salesforce?
It was under the management startup that
Okay.
you sent the tenant takeover.
Ooh.
I believe it's a task in the workflow.
From what I understand, the trainings later in the week will go in more depth of this actual process itself.
That's what I thought too.
Okay, well that makes me feel a little better, but I'm hoping that we can do some hands-on practice where, you know, somebody, I don't know how you would practice this, but we're going live, but
We practiced when we go live.
well, yeah.
I mean,
One thing is
we're
we
gonna
gotta,
make mistakes.
we gotta get the presenter not to flip, make sure we've got the right slide. And
Yes.
then also not flip them so quickly so we can, and of course we'll have access to them. But it'd be great to have the access before this all started.
I think we should ask them to email us the whole PDF of each slide.
Yes.
So that way, if we want to
Yes.
print them out, because I'm old school and I will print that out and then I will follow it step by step
Absolutely. Put it
until
in the
I get
binder.
it down.
Ditto on that.
He was doing snippets of the important ones and printing them off.
I was looking at the link that was in the email for the training. If you go in there, you can request access to the Google Docs with all of the information. I don't have access yet, but I could see where you can go to get all of it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I saw that this morning too, after they sent out the IAG things to us in error.
Yeah.
So,
All right, I think everybody's back. Sorry,